Every time I'm out camping, people come up to me and they ask, how is your trailer running both your ACs and all your 110 outlets and there's never a generator running? Well, let me show you. There are other videos on our YouTube channel where I walk through all the features, but just to tell you what this is the 2026 Trails West FreeRide. It holds my Pro R 4-seater. It'll hold 4 sleds if you cram them in there. It'll hold a ton of bikes, and it still sleeps 7 people with only 1 air mattress in there. So 6 people in beds and 1 person on an air mattress. Now let's talk about why this trailer is so cool. So we're gonna go through a lot and it's gonna be a little bit technical, but if you love inverters and batteries and solar and how to basically run your trailer for free off the sun, this is the video for you, and I think you'll gain a lot of really cool knowledge. So watch this. All right, let's start off with our batteries. So what we have here is 2 separate battery banks. These are wired in series. They're 12 volt, 300 amp hour lithium batteries. So I have 1 bank here, 1 bank here. So they're putting out 24 volts and they're going into a main shutoff. But we do have 150 amp fuses on each of the battery banks, protecting everything and protecting the batteries. They run up here into a main shutoff so you can kill power just with 1 click if you need to. Out of there, we're running a big, thick 4-aught cable into our first bus bar where we have 24 volts of power. So out of this bus bar, we run over into 150 amp fuses here for each of these inverters. And here's our negative bus bar right here that also runs a 4-aught cable as well. Now, so that's the 24 volt side. And then out of this 24 volt bus bar, we run over to a 24 volt step down into a 12 volt system. So everything on this side, on these bus bars, is all our 12 volt systems inside, like water pumps, lights, furnaces, the jack, anything running 12 volt needed to be stepped down from the 24. So that's what we're doing right there, okay? Now, off these batteries, we run our ground through a shunt that then runs over to our negative bus bar where all our loads are. And what that does for us is it allows us to know how much power is actually coming out of the batteries or going into the batteries. The next thing we have on here is the 2 solar arrays. I have 1100 watts of solar on this charge controller and I have 640 watts of solar on this charge controller, fused both to the panels on both sides and fused out of the charge controller to the bus bar. These are putting in 24 volts of power into our array. And then right over here is the brains of the system. This is called the Servo GX. And when we go inside, you'll see this displaying all sorts of parameters onto the screen. This 40 amp fuse right here is what goes to our main 12 volt panel inside. Again, just making sure that everything is fused and protected so you don't have circuits on this that are just straight to a battery where the wires could heat up and catch on fire potentially. Moving this way, these are the brains of the system. These are our 2 multi+2 and they're split phase inverters, meaning they have 2 120 volt circuits on them, so they can take a 50 amp 4-wire with both hot legs into each of these. What we have them wired in parallel so that they work together, supplying the power to the trailer, because they're only about 2400 watts, running watts each. So you have about 4800 running watts out of these 2 inverters together, and that way we can power both of our ACs and our microwave and a toaster oven all at the same time without ever overrunning the power that we have on this trailer. So it basically gives you unlimited power up here. All of that power runs out of these inverters and over to these wires, which go into this junction box that we have wired up all nice and pretty. And then that goes out of here and into the power panel on the trailer where everything has breakers on it that runs 110. Now let me talk about wire size and fusing and why it's so important. One of the most important things if you are going to try a DIY project or you're going to try to do something like this and not have the professionals like us here do it for you is to make sure that when you are sizing wires in an array like this, that you size the wires correctly, and even more importantly than that, that you size the fuses to the wires or the wires to the fuses. If you have a wire that has a fuse on it that is way too big for that wire, the fuse won't pop and the wire will catch on fire. So as you come in closer here, the way you can tell amps, which is resistance, which is what puts heat into wires, is you take your watts and you divide it by your volts. And so these batteries, for example, have 150 amp fuses on them, because the safe running of a 2-gauge tinned wire is up to like 120 amps continuous. So you size up your fuse about 15%, and that allows you to make sure that you never catch these wires on fire. Moving up through the system here, this is a really easy one. This is a 150 amp fuse. This 24 volt, 3000 watt max thing, when you divide 3000 by 24, you end up with about 125, which means this 150 amp fuse is sized correctly for this wire and for this inverter. So I just really wanted to stress to people that if you're going to get into something as complex as this, you need to really know what you're doing with breakers, fuses, and wire gauges, so that you're not running wires that are too small, fuses that are too big, and ending up with a fire in the front of here. But here at Life Elevated Trailers, we can set this all up for you and get you a trailer that will run pretty much all day just off the power of the sun. All right, so that Servo GX that you saw out in the gooseneck of the trailer, that is what is sending the signal to this thing, telling us everything that's going on. So our solar panels are pushing 500 watts, and if we click on those, that's going to tell us what each array is doing. It's a little later in the day, so that's why that's down lower. You've got your batteries, and at the current rate, they're actually charging at 5 amps right now, because the solar is overrunning the AC loads, because the ACs have caught up, and so all that's running on the AC is the fan right now. We have about 86 watts of DC loads right now, so we're able to charge our batteries just off the power of the sun. And then you'll see that if I turn the generator on, you'll get the generator will pop up over on this side, and that will show us what the generator can do with this system. All right, so now we have our generator running. It's pushing about 3,300 watts into the batteries. The reason it's doing that, it's only pushing 81 amps, and then it's powering the 1,300 watts of AC load with the air conditioner that's running. The reason that it's only pushing that amount of power and not more is because we have the generator current limit set at 32 amps, because that's all the generator can do. If we go more than that, it'll kill the generator. So the system knows that, and it only asks for 32 amps from the generator that way, which is 1,300 watts and about 75 amps of charging to the batteries. What's so cool about this, though, is if I add a whole bunch of AC loads to this, the inverters will actually come on and assist the generator instead of overrunning it. So right now we're at 2560, the generator can still keep up. Then I start the microwave, and that bumps us up even more. And once we overrun the generator, now this goes to assisting. Do you see how that switched to assisting? And now the inverters are pulling power from the batteries. They're still using 3,000 watts of the generator, and then they're assisting the other 800 watts with the batteries. So really seamless, really cool system. When you drop the loads off, the AC loads off, then it goes right back to charging. The generator runs its 3,300 watts, and it pushes all that power back into the batteries. It does that all automatically and seamlessly, so you can just run your trailer without having to think about it, and the inverters and the chargers and the generator will all work together to make sure that power is available, and then intelligently go back to charging the batteries as soon as loads come off. So if you want something like this, we can retrofit this system into a trailer you currently have, or you can come get a new one from us and we can put all this in for you. But here at Life Elevated Trailers, we'll make it easy, we'll make it simple, and we'll have the technical knowledge to spend your money correctly to build you a system that accomplishes what you want, the best bang for your buck, and done correctly. So thanks for watching, guys.